We are on box number 7 with a brand new X-Acto knife. Apparently I've been overusing the old one because it broke. Such heavy work. This one, I believe, is going to be a lot of books as well, or at least paperwork. It's quite heavy. Let's see what we got. Oh yeah, books. And from first glance, it looks like they're language books. Oh, it looks like quite a variety of books, actually. Let's see. All right. Start off with, I took Russian for 3 years, and I'm ashamed to say that I don't actually speak it now. This was years and years ago. And, you know, you don't use a language, you lose it. This book, I was just talking about this book the other day. This is Laszlo Polgar's Bring Up Genius, but it's the Esperanto version, which I actually couldn't find any mention of in the World Esperanto Association's bookstore, although I know that they have it, or at least they used to have it. So Laszlo Polgar is the father of these 3 women, all of whom are chess grandmasters, and basically he and his wife, you could say, use their children to test their educational ideas, but did so successfully, and the children ended up being fairly well-rounded, and in addition to being chess grandmasters. But anyway, I was in Hungary in 1990, I think I was there in 1991, 1992, and I visited the Hungarian Esperanto Association, and I actually talked with him about doing an English translation. It exists now in Hungarian and Esperanto, and I don't think it exists in English even today. The reason I sort of backed away from it ultimately was, although the educational part might be interesting, it then kind of devolves into chess, which I didn't think would be nearly as interesting. Well, looking at it now, it seems that the chess part only really comes toward the end, so maybe I should give that a thought again. All right, I won't go through every book, but that one is particularly interesting. Writing book, fun book. One of the funniest books I've ever read, and I'm really happy to find it. It's a parody of Let's Go Europe, the travel guides that were popular in the, I think, 80s and 90s, and it's hilarious. I'm setting that aside because I've been meaning to lend that to friends. This is a book that was written about an autistic youth, DJ, and a documentary was made about him, and I did some of the shooting in that, so it's my only IMDb credit, and the name of the movie is Deej, D-E-E-J. Max Schulman is wonderful, very funny. He wrote the Dobie Gillis TV show. He created the characters in his books. Bill Bryson. Oh, another one of my very favorite books, and I think this one is signed. If it's not, yep, it's signed, so I'm going to put that in my signed book collections. Basically, it's this woman, Sherry Caudron, who's a fairly successful journalist, who traveled around to different subcultures and just said, why are you fanatically passionate about what you're fanatically passionate about? And one of the groups was, indeed, furries. And it's one of the most moving descriptions I've seen, and one of the ones that really gets a lot right, I think. There's a lot of books in here that have personal meaning for me, so I guess this is going to be a long video. Rust Belt Chic, this is by Anne Trubeck. She started a publication called, well, a publishing company called Belt, and also Belt Magazine. I wrote a couple articles for it, basically about what they call the Rust Belt in America, and about the culture, generally. Fun book. Herville. This was by somebody I knew in college. I hesitate to call him a friend because, you know, we were friends back then, and I think I contacted him a couple of times and never heard anything back, so whatever. But he kind of turned me onto comics in college, and he's become a successful, well, a very active comic writer. I don't think he's reached the levels of success that perhaps he deserves, but anyway, so that was a preprint proof. I was one of his early supporters, I think, and so it's signed, and I think he did an original drawing that's stuck in one of these books, and this is the published copy. Yep, also signed. It's quite good. And one of them's a published copy. Oh, you know what? This is a second book, and I don't actually remember reading this. Yes, I did. Anyway, all right, old book, which I think is really beautiful. Oh, I have to take another look at this. This is the Bodley grandchildren and their journey in Holland. And look at that cover. Let's see. I think it's late 1800s. I'm going to set this out and maybe like poke through it because it's got to be interesting. Wonder if they mention Rotterdam, because pre-war Rotterdam is fascinating to me. Let's see. Just curious. Come on, what's the date? 1882. It's quite a beautiful book, too. Ah, see, and with illustrations, very pretty illustrations. All right, I have to be quicker about this. If you haven't read Understanding Comics, it's a must if you're at all interested in art history. It is one of the best art history books I've ever seen. Kevin Savitz, I actually reviewed this on Slashdot. You could search my name on Slashdot. It's good. He and I were in a mailing list together, and it's basically about growing up and playing with computers in the 70s and 80s. Yeah, again, I have at least tangential connections with some of these. This is a book that I think came out more or less when I was an editor at MacWeek. So I knew this writer, Owen Linsmeyer. I think he wrote some reviews for me. Cool cover, poetry. Yes, this was one of the early Hearville things. Oh, there it is. There's the drawing from Barry. I think let's see, that's 2010. It's because I had moved back to Oberlin, which is where we met. Is this signed? It is. Good. Wonderful book. This was one of the things that really drew me into furry, because it really talks. It really, I don't know, gets to the heart of what loneliness means, and community, and so on, and alienation. All right, I swear I won't go this slow through it, but these are all books that I love. I think that this is, being one of the early boxes I packed, is the stuff that I loved most. So, I haven't read any other Douglas Copeland, but I really do love this book. Ricky Jay is a genius. I think he might not still be alive. Yeah, I'll just flash by these. You know what? I'm just going to look through and see if there's anything else really cool. This is kind of fun. It's teaching German immigrants how to be a good American, or at least good language. And I think it's kind of funny that they break up the syllables this way. All right. Going back, let's see. This played a part in my college career, because I actually read a story live at a composition performance. I think the point being that music is also words, and words are music. Who knows what I was thinking? I still don't think it's a bad idea, though. I've been rereading the Chronicles of Narnia, but this is the copy that I had as a child, the one that I read the first time and has special meaning for me, this edition. And I just want to mention that it is in the original order, which I am very fierce about saying it should be in the original order. The books were reordered later to be chronological to Narnian time. A few random books. Oh, good, some Kurt Vonnegut. I've been meaning to lend that to a friend. Some sort of historical books in a way. That's really cool. It's probably worth a little bit of money. Was this signed by Jim Borgman? Let's find out. I have a fair number of signed books. It was, and there's even a little drawing. I think he won a Pulitzer Prize for cartooning, as a matter of fact. Cincinnati character. Oh my God. In England, this was fairly well known when I was a kid, but I haven't seen it around, and it's absolutely hilarious. It's, yeah, another hilarious book. It's a parody of the L.L. Bean catalog, and there's two versions of that, two editions, two copies. Oh, yeah. What is this? Ooh, nice. Huge book of M.C. Escher prints. Very nice. Getting down to the bottom, I'm a little ashamed of this. In fact, I'm quite ashamed of this. I think this is the one. Does this contain the cassettes or the discs or whatever? Anyway, it's an early version of DOS for the TRS-80 computers that were popular in America in the late 70s, early 80s. And they're the ones that were the first computers I ever really used. And I'm ashamed of this. And let's see if this is the one. I'm ashamed of this because I think that I got this, or at least I got some TRS-80 stuff off of somebody who I knew at summer camp, and I never returned them. And I meant to return them. I still remember his name, Daniel Applebaum. So Daniel, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, and I'll send these to you. I wish I knew where you were. Also, I'm not sure those were the things. Oh, this is Tom Limoncelli and Strata Chalap, who are good friends. I visit them whenever I'm in their parts of the world. And yeah, that's it. It's just a lot of books, but it's a lot of especially good books. So I'm really glad to have opened that.